Hey everybody, in this video I'll be sharing my process for how I like to build my arrows. I'm currently working on a new arrow build for this year. You can see the specs on the screen. I'll be shooting these arrows out of a Hoyt Power Max set at 70-pound draw weight with a 29-inch draw length. So when I build my arrows, I like to start out by weighing all my arrow shafts, separating them based on their weights. When you buy arrow shafts, they typically come with the nocks pre-installed. I'll remove those before I weigh out my arrows just so that I'm only weighing out the arrow shafts. Removing the nocks is also important for when you're gluing in the inserts. After sorting my arrow shafts, I move on to prepping the hit inserts. Each package of hit inserts comes with a small sanding tool, epoxy, and a little green plastic tool that you use to install the inserts. The inserts come as 75 grain inserts of a small brass piece at the end that you can break off to get 50 grains. So after breaking the inserts to get my 50 grain inserts, I weigh them out and sort them based on their weight. After this, I'll match my inserts to my arrow shafts based on their weight so that I can keep my overall arrow weight as consistent as possible. Now I'm ready to move on to installing my inserts. I use a Q-tip with acetone to clean the inside of my arrow shafts. I want to make sure there's no carbon dust in my arrow shafts that will affect how the glue adheres. So Easton hit inserts come with a little sanding tool that I use on the arrow tip to make sure everything's squared. They also come with an epoxy that they recommend you use with the inserts here, but I don't like using them. I've had some issues with the epoxy curing and the insert sitting in a consistent position, as well as them coming loose, so I now just stick with Bohning low temp hot melt for my inserts. I haven't had any issues with that. For installing the inserts with the hot melt, it's pretty simple. I heat up the hot melt over a candle and apply some of it to the insert. And then I put the inserts into the arrow shafts, and I use a small green plastic tool that comes with the inserts to push the insert all the way in and to set it at the proper depth in the arrow shaft. Then I dunk my arrow tip into some cold water to prevent the carbon from getting too hot. So after installing inserts, I put on a broadhead to test that it fits properly and the arrow's spinning correctly and there's no wobble. Right, there's one installed, it's spinning good. So after I've installed the inserts, I'll put the nock into the arrow shafts, put on the Ironwill collars, and screw in the field tips. The next step is the arrow wraps and the vanes. To start, I use an AAE Max wipe to clean the arrow shafts before I put the wraps on. Once the arrow wraps are on, I wipe it down again with the wipes just to make sure there's no adhesion problems with the vanes. Now before I glue on the vanes, I weigh them out and make sure that I'm using 4 vanes that are about the same weight. I do this to make sure that the vanes are consistent in weight, as well as maintaining consistent weight across all my arrows. For the vanes, you need a fletching jig and some glue. I'm using the Grayling fletching jig with a left-helical clamp and AAE Max Bond glue. I fletch my vanes with a left-helical because the arrows that come off my bow naturally twist counterclockwise. You'll want to check which way your arrows naturally turn when coming off your bow by shooting a bare shaft at close distances. Put a little mark on your arrow shaft with a Sharpie and then see which way that mark moves when you shoot. Now the Grayling fletching jig is a nice affordable fletching jig. I know everyone likes the Bitzenberger jig, but that one is more expensive. I think the Grayling one might be around $30, $40, something like that. After each fletching, I'll wipe up the excess glue using a small towel. Once I'm done fletching an arrow, I put a small dab of glue on the ends of each vane to make sure they don't lift up at those points. And that's it. That's the process I go through to build my arrows. For now, this is the arrow build I'm running this year. Yeah, if you have any questions about arrow builds or how to build arrows, anything like that, yeah, put a comment down below. Anyways, yeah, thank you for watching.